at work. And so I started off early on. People would say, "Oh, you're such a warrior to go out and do that," and I felt more like a warrior dragging his sword into battle because I had no other option but to do that. I had to do it because I had $250,000 in debt to the IRS,
Yes.
and my first thought was, I'm gonna pay it off, the IRS, and then I'll figure out what to do with the rest. And then what happened was is you have a small win and then another small win, and you start to believe and you start to go, you know what, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do this, maybe I can accomplish this, maybe I can actually get some belief back into myself. And the very first thing that I remember was saying, I need to have a good day. I need to have a day where I do everything that I say I'm going to do. It doesn't have to come out the way I want it to come out, but I need to be able to put my head on my pillow at night and say, I did everything I was going to do. And I'm not even going to worry about tomorrow. I don't care if I do it tomorrow. Don't care if tomorrow even exists. I'm just going to do that today because I need to be able to say I can do that one time. And that
Mm.
one time turned into two times, into three times, into four times, and the momentum started. And and it led to some very big, monumental changes in my life that I use today to really accomplish pretty much anything I want to accomplish. And it was those things that started to get me ahead of where I was at, and then fulfillment started, and then I started to do things like, hey, you know what? If my business is a failure or if my business is a success, it has no bearing on me as an individual. I am not my business.
Oh,
And
wow. Yes.
and the success of my business or the failure of my business is the success or failure of my business. It is not the success or failure of me. I am a different, separate entity. Once I was able to do that, I was able to grow.
Hmm. Wow, I love that. I love what you just said because I believe this is, especially, we are, our podcast, surprisingly for me, we have a very, like, a younger audience. I always thought it was going to be like a niche of my age and higher, but we have more and more a younger audience listening. And for anybody that listen, this differentiation that Tab just did, that he was not his business. He was going to fix the business, he was going to do his work, but that will not define him. Like, if the business fails, that doesn't mean Tab failed. That doesn't, that, or Yvonne fails. That means that Yvonne gets to learn and gets to work. Tab got to do whatever he chose in his path of fulfillment. And many people get lost sometimes in how identified they are with their role or the business they're doing, believing that that's who they are. And in that moment, you forget who you are, you sacrifice who you are, and that's when your suffering is going to increase, your clarity of mind is going to decrease, and you are not going to be able to turn the things around like Tab did. So, wow, Tab,
And
yeah,
you talk about younger people being your listeners. So
yes,
if one of the things I would say to them, I'd say to anybody, that it really doesn't matter what their age is, that don't shirk the opportunity, don't push off the opportunity to do something incredibly hard. Don't look for the exit. Don't look for the easy way out. I get people that will often come to me that don't know my story, and they're like, "Man, you're really successful. You've done this. You've done this. You've done this." And you know what? That's they only see me now, right? They don't see 4 years ago when
yes,
I couldn't take money out of my company. I was scraping by to get to get things to just to pay my bills. I'm driving Uber because I don't have the money to do everything. And people don't see that. And it would have been so much easier to forego conversations like I had when I was out driving Uber, when people would say things like, "Hey, so is Uber all you do?" No, I'm actually the CEO of a cybersecurity firm. And then of course the wheels would turn in their head, and I would think to myself, don't ask why I'm out here doing this, because I don't want to talk about it. But it was the hard things that I had to do in order to get where I'm at today. And just the reward, and this is the exciting thing, that anybody who's going through something incredibly hard, if you do it and you do it well and you persevere, the other side of this, where I'm at now, as far as who I am as a person, who I am as far as my relationships go, my business is the growth, everything is astronomically better now than it was before all of it went down.
Oh, I love that, and I love that you said don't give up on hard. Actually, I'm totally in alignment with the same what you are sharing right now. Just before I shared, I'm making so many notes as always with you. But I would have loved to be in that Uber with you. That gave me a good idea for like a TV show, like the CEO on, or like under, like a hiding, like a
Mhm.
hiding the CEO on Uber, and you just give business wisdom to your passengers. I would have loved to be there because you do have this energy of in my perception and my experience, where there is knowledge and wisdom, but it comes from the heart, from not running away from the challenges. This is what shapes us, right? It's like the charcoal that will become a diamond. It's not, it's through pressure that the diamond is relieved and released. And so I think you went through like a diamond process. I really love it, and not giving up on heart. I just love how it sounded, because that's the birthplace of resilience. And I love what you said, the reward after that. And it's so fulfilling to know you were able to do that, right? That you were able not only to survive and or not only thrive, but also create a life of fulfillment, where now you are such a great advisor and such a good bridge and such a good like mentor, coach, friend, ally for so many people. And yeah, so
Well,
yeah, yeah.
and I appreciate that. I really do. The There is such an opportunity that we have as humans to take our life and turn it into a diamond, and we're never done. We're never done, and we have to be able to look at it and say, how can I improve? How can I get better? And to realize that these experiences that we have, that I can't even begin to tell you some of the colossal experiences that I had that were horrible. When we owed another $250,000 to a hard money lender who did everything but actually break my kneecaps. I mean, threatening letters, threatening emails, threatening phone calls, calling my mom, calling my daughter, my wife, everybody, sending me letters saying, we're going to be at your office to seize all your assets with the police tomorrow. Please be there. Well, they didn't say please be there. They said be there. They never said please. To go from that to feeling like I was always behind the eight ball. I was always beholden to somebody else, slowly but gradually getting ahead of it and thinking to myself, wait a second, I control the money. I'm the banker. I owe them money. That's no good. But in order for them to get their money, they have to play by my rules. And I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be mean, but I have to do what I have to do in order to make sure everybody gets paid. Because if I don't, we're going to go bankrupt and then nobody gets paid. And so you start to learn the gradual. I'm not behind the eight ball. I'm in front of the eight ball, and you start to control it. And I say that because I was so passive and timid early on that I always felt like beholden, and I would wait, and I would wait for people to come to me because I was too afraid to go to them and say, I don't have your money, I don't have this, I don't have that. That has shifted 180 degrees to where I'm at today, where I now, and I don't mean this to sound arrogant, please, I hope nobody takes it that way, but I control the narrative. If something is going on that needs to be addressed, I control the narrative. I stay ahead of the game. I'm constantly on the front end of it, because the difference is how we perceive ourselves and how we go about allowing others to perceive us. Because if we go into something timid and afraid, the people are going to know that. We don't have to go in arrogant and full of ourselves, but we have to go in confident. And that's something that we learn. We have to learn by doing.
I love what you're just sharing, because it doesn't sound arrogant. It's actually what it sounds is like honesty. And I call it honesty. And I use the term
Mm.
honesty, like raw, which
Yeah,
is the words RAW, responsible, aware, and with wholeness. That's
I
how I
love
feel
that.
sharing. That's reality, right? That's the reality it is. It's not arrogant, but it's not even about having power, but having the confidence, the clarity, and being a good leader that is going to, hey, everybody, I'm going to pay you, or everything I will arrange it. It's like taking charge of your life. It
Hmm.
actually, there's a lot of studies that, and in my body of work that I do a lot of systemic work with family systems, etc. The more certain the leader is, the more safety the company, the family, even the in quote enemies will have. The more safety they will have, the more ease they will feel when the leader is in control and in charge. It's
And
it's, it's so
you're
powerful.
you're absolutely right. And you know my relationship with my wife, Catherine, and I have power in that relationship. Not all power, but I have power. She has power, and the power that we have together is to give everything that we have as like my goal, my objective is I want to give 100% of everything I have to my wife, but it's mine to give. It's my power to give because it's a relationship of strength. That's how we should look at everything. We should look at everything and say, I control the narrative, I control the power, but I'm a giver. I give because the more, I mean, people are clamoring for other people to be strong and not be weak, and we don't have to. Strong does not mean that we take advantage of other people. That's weakness. Strength is having the power to do things and then do them well and do them for the right reason.
Wow, I'm coming back and forth from my notes and everything. Um, this is something that I believe has to be reinstalled in leadership. The ability to lead, not with arrogance, but with the awareness of that power, and with the awareness that I love that you had said, I have power in controlling my relationship because your wife wouldn't want it any other way. And that power, that certainty of a leader, actually, for example, in relationships, it will give his counterpart, his beloved, her beloved, the power for her to be more of who she is and stand by your side, right? Now, I'm turning now this into a relationship things, which I'm just
We
a,
can go all over the place.
oh my gosh,
We,
but
we
yeah.
Anywhere we want to go. We'll go anywhere where you want to go.
Yes, but everything, even if we go relationships, business, children, parenting, it comes to the same. You got to lead your life, you got to take charge, and you got to turn things around and not skip the heart. I think this is one of my favorite phrases of this week that I've heard. Not skipping the heart. And I truly believe that fulfillment comes from having conquered not only ourselves but the heart that we were living and that we wanted to avoid, but instead we looked in eye to eye and we took control of it and we took responsibility. That's, in spiritual traditions, that's when you begin to earn the right to truly become like a teacher, a master of yourself. You got to have that mastery. So I feel I'm talking, to a Zen master, this guy as a business owner that has a really cool relationship. I love your relationship with your wife. Has a daughter that I am focusing on converting totally into tea ceremony. That I love your daughter.
Uh,
At
I
least
love that too. By the way, thank you.
yeah, she bought her tea set. She bought
She
her tea
did.
set. I'm trying to get you and Catherine and your daughter to come to have a tea ceremony with me, the tea ceremony of Bruce Lee. Anyways,
Mm.
let's go back to you. So, tell me a little bit about refiners because I want to lead people over there. You have an incredible group on Facebook. I benefit of every comment whenever I can. I jump into the Zoom calls, but I love what you said. You are in control, but you are also an incredible giver. Tell me a little bit before of refiners, how does that how does that works? Because some people are not going to understand how important it is. I'm in control, I'm in power, it's on my terms, and I'm a giver. Some people don't see that possible. So share a little bit more about that.
So I'll tell you about two different things. One is refiners, and then something